Hey, this is Cornelius Lindsey, and welcome to the Silent Majority. You know, with growing partisan distaste amongst many voters, there's a silent majority that's growing that doesn't find a home in either of America's two major political parties. People don't know how to identify themselves, and a large number of people are simply not voting. Of all the voters, many people are just unsatisfied with either the candidates or the system. This silent majority is growing, and we have something to say. Welcome to the Silent Majority. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Cornelius Lindsey. Welcome to another episode of Silent Majority. Hey, we're doing nightly recaps of the Democratic National Convention. This is recap number 3 of night 3. Special night tonight, a very historic night. And joining me is my colleague, my friend, who I've had in night 1, night 2, Mr. Robert Kelly. Rob, thank you so much for being with me again to talk about this historic night.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, okay. So I guess we could just jump right into it. Would you say that there were any big takeaways? Do you feel like there were any people who really stuck out tonight? Any speeches who stuck out tonight? Any people who stuck out tonight? Was there anything at all that stuck out tonight from the DNC?
You know, absolutely. I think that this was probably their best night so far. In terms of really making a strong impact. This was one of the nights that I think could actually shift some voters. Wow. That may have been on the fence. Barack Obama's speech, it was in rare form. We rarely have seen him kind of take this tone. Senator Kamala Harris, her speech was pretty substantial, and then the feature of the Violence Against Women that was pretty awesome. I think they did a great job of hitting the 3 topics of gun safety, climate change, immigration. I think this was one of their stronger nights.
Well, and I would agree with you. When I look at President Obama, one of the things that immediately stands out to me is that an orator is best when he or she is really in his or her primitive environment. And I feel like that environment is typically in front of crowds. Hey, I'm a lover of wrestling. I like WWE. I've tried to watch it during the pandemic. It's not the same because the crowds aren't there. And even I watched Kamala's speech. I mean, honestly, I started drifting off to sleep a couple of times. I felt, no matter what you think about her, this was a very historic night. And unfortunately, I felt as if she was robbed, not by the DNC, not by the Republicans, not by America, not by anybody. She was robbed because she was chosen for a very historic nomination in the middle of a pandemic. And unfortunately, she didn't have the crowds there. She didn't have the fanfare. We didn't have the balloons. We didn't have, I remember, Rob, when Sarah Palin, when Sarah Palin accepted the nomination for vice president. I remember when she came out there. I remember when there were certain places where women really stood up when she was talking about, being a soccer mom, when she talks about, being a mama bear and all those different things. And the women stood up and clapped for her. I remember the times where she'd really seek to jab, then Senator Obama and Joe Biden. I remember those opportunities, and I remember the fanfare that was involved with it. I remember John and Sydney when they walked out afterwards and they embraced her and Todd. I remember those moments because of the fanfare, because of all the people that were yelling and jumping. And that's what these conventions have really been. That's what they're known for. They're known for the fanfare. They're known for the fluff. They're known for those big moments because the fans, the people, the audience, the noise, it makes those big moments. Unfortunately for me, even listening to President Obama, even though he was in rare form, I felt as though as great of an orator as he is, the absence of the audience did not serve him well. Unfortunately, President Obama was no Michelle Obama. Michelle looked at that camera and she spoke like a mama. And she said, look, let me tell y'all something. And I feel like Hillary kind of had that little, she kind of had that little mama in her too. She said, look, I told y'all back then and y'all didn't want to listen to me. And so now I'm going to tell you again. What would Hillary said? I don't want no coulda, shoulda, woulda. I'm like, Hillary just made it plain. I don't want no woulda, coulda, shoulda. Yeah, what you could have done. She said, everybody came to me after these years. Then I wish I can do a redo, or I wish I would have voted. I don't need no shoulda, coulda, woulda. If you need to vote. If you need to do vote, text. And everybody wants to text the number to 33, whatever the thing is. Everybody's trying to do. But unfortunately, I felt as though those moments were taken away from President Obama because he's such a great orator. I just wish he was in front of. I wish he was in front of a camera. I wish he was in front of a crowd, and then also from Kamala.
I agree. I think that, the crowd does make an absolute difference in just the feeling that especially President Obama, he's an expert at taking those pauses of almost anticipating and knowing what points he's going to make and how it should move the people. And so there was something missing with that. In this speech that we've typically seen. I think that for Kamala, it didn't necessarily hurt her as much because I feel like people need to really see her. I think that the crowd would have kind of pushed. It would have pushed her. It would have. No, I agree with you. I think it would have pushed her. I think that it would have made people. Like sometimes because when people can see that other people like you, they like you even more. And I think that would have enhanced, her likability. I think it would have enhanced her speech a little bit more. So I definitely agree with you there. For me, just watching President Obama be so stoic, so serious, almost calling for a state of emergency. I think that it was almost chilling, because we don't see him in that form very often. And I think that his was, while not as his didn't necessarily didn't hit the heart as much as Michelle Obama's did, but I think that it definitely will energize and activate people. Even as you say, make a plan. It's almost energizing people to go out and make sure that you do this now. Kind of thing.
One of the things that President Obama did say that I do remember from his speech, he talked about John Lewis, losing John Lewis. And one of the things he said, John Lewis walked into the Oval Office and said, I did not think in my lifetime that I would see somebody in the Oval Office that would look like my grandson. And then he said, John Lewis told him, he said, I researched it. He said, in the day that you were being born, he said, I was heading into jail fighting for our civil rights. And then President Obama, he said something. He said, what we do today is going to echo throughout generations. And he was talking about the work that John Lewis did at the time. It echoed throughout generations that ultimately, paved the way for him to then, take a nomination for the Democratic nomination, ultimately become president, and then ultimately to remain president for 8 years. So, even in those moments, when he said, what we do is going to echo throughout generations. I remember that. I have those lines. I have those lines from Barbara Jordan. I have those lines from John F. Kennedy, from Richard Nixon, from different speeches and orators I've heard throughout the years. I remember them. And that's one of those lines. It's like, man, that really does hit. Like the decision you make, that one vote that you're getting ready to cast this year is going to be throughout tonight, if I can give anything, if I can just point out several themes here, and then I want you to tell me, Rob, if these themes really, really resonate with you, and if there's any others that you saw. Number one, like you said, state of emergency. Hillary was very, very pointed. She was very, very direct. I told y'all I didn't want this to happen. It's happening. I'm sorry. We got to make a change. That was very pointed. You had President Obama, who state of emergency. You had a highlight of women. I mean, let's be honest. This was a highlight of women, and it was
Absolutely.
different. It was different women. It was not just one color woman. It was different women from different sides of the spectrum. Hillary Clinton sported her white suit, which is who symbolizes women's suffrage. I mean, President Obama, honestly, he was just kind of the guy who was invited to the sorority, to the sorority house. So yeah. So it's like, those are some of the themes that I saw. Were there any other themes that you saw that really resonated with you throughout tonight's convention?
I think they did a great job of weaving the story along and choosing who was going to do and say what. I think they were very pointed at that because, as we said before, we see Barack Obama kind of be the bulldog that everyone says that Kamala is.
Yeah.
And that left her to be more endearing. That left her to be more sensitive, more open. Even when she talks about her mother, and she talks about, that her mother could have possibly never imagined seeing her stand on the stage and say this: I accept the nomination for Vice President of the United States. That was a powerful moment.
It was.
I think that another powerful moment was when the young girl who wrote the letter saying that her father, who was in the military, voted for Trump because he thought he would protect families, and that her mother ended up getting deported. That those type of stories really hit you a certain way.
Yeah.
I think another one, even Hillary, she said something that I thought was just interesting when she says, I wish Donald Trump knew how to be a president.
Oh.
I mean, I just thought, that was just, I was like, wow, that was funny to me. Almost like he's not capable of it, And
well, President Obama actually said it. He actually said I wish he could rise to this moment, but he can't. Like, he just came out and just said it. He's not capable of doing the job.
Right. And I mean, I think just hearing that from a former president, I can't remember in recent history or ever looking back a time when a immediate past president went after a sitting president so directly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's historic. And one of the other things that was resonating was Build Back Better. That kind of was a resonating theme throughout tonight, was everyone saying, we're going to elect them to build back better. I think that phraseology will resonate heavily with people, because we know where the economy is now. We know where the virus has taken us. We know employment's down, schools are down. And so I think that theme is going to really resonate to Build Back Better. So, I mean, I have to give it to them. I think that they did a great job putting this together. The only other thing I think that was really, really good was them showing President Barack Obama giving the Medal of Honor to Joe Biden. That moment as well, I think, was a very humanizing moment, showing the sensitivity, showing the another side of Joe Biden, because he's been shown as this caring, compassionate. Joe cares for you. Joe cares for us. And I think that was another moment, just showing Joe's my friend. Yeah. And so, they're really trying to shape this narrative that Trump is, incapable. He doesn't care. He's egotistic. And on the other side, Joe cares. He's a friend. He's a friend of the people. He understands the people. He's down to earth. Kamala, she's capable. So, I mean, I think that they did a good job in this moment to really change the narrative of those who were willing to be and could be shifted.